Hello, Lynnwood. I'm Cole Langdon. I'm your Chief of Police. I want to take a moment to address some concerns that have been coming up in our community surrounding violent crime. Lynnwood, like every other city in our region, has seen an increase in violent crime. Specifically, incidents that are the most concern to us and most concern to you are these situations where we've had people taking firearms, removing people from their vehicles. These are commonly referred to as carjackings. While we've seen an uptick, something that's beyond the characteristic of what we've seen historically in Lynnwood, we do think it's important to let our community know that there are things you can do to prevent this crime from happening, to make yourself less likely to be a victim of such an incident. The word I'm going to use is a core value of the Lynnwood Police Department, and that is vigilance. We believe by being aware of your surroundings, by being aware of who's around you, you can prevent yourself from falling victim to crime. Let's say you're on your way home from work, you're on your way home from the bank, you're on your way home from the store. Taking that moment to be aware as you get into your vehicle and assessing, is there any other vehicles around me that are stopped and have occupants inside that are looking at me? As you begin to drive away, do you notice vehicles following you? As you start to turn into your general neighborhood, do you notice a vehicle that's now been behind you for a while that you don't otherwise recognize as being from your neighborhood? All things that you want to pay attention to. And while we're not looking for hypervigilance, because at that point it starts to intrude into you being able to live a joyful life, we do think it's important to be vigilant. Look at that vehicle. If you feel that this vehicle might be following you, maybe you take another turn down the street. Is the vehicle now following you still further? Maybe you go back out to a business. If you start to feel a little part of the back of your brain is saying, this is a concern and I believe this vehicle is following me, go to a public place and feel free to call 911. Have us come out and we'll help to assess the issue. You can continue to drive. And if, again, this vehicle is following you, let us come out there. Let us know where you're at. We're happy to come out. We'll assess and see what we can do to figure out what's going on with this vehicle. The other thing I would tell you is as you're pulling into your neighborhood, are there any vehicles in your neighborhood that don't look familiar? Do you notice a vehicle that's occupied with maybe its brake lights on? And as you're preparing to pull into your driveway, you recognize that this vehicle has never been in your neighborhood before. Maybe it's time to drive down the road a little bit, and you can turn around and you could always come back and assess further. It's that vigilance that we're looking for from our community members, taking ownership of your own personal safety, to look at what's going on around you and to ask yourself the question of, is this normal and is this okay? And if you have questions around those, if you're not quite sure if something is normal or is okay, nothing wrong with calling 911 to seek further assessment from one of our trained professionals. The other thing you do is, again, remove yourself from that situation. So come back to be vigilant, be aware of your surroundings. It's okay to have a bit of a questioning eye when you see strangers that maybe are looking at you, are observing you, are putting you in a position where you feel uncomfortable. It's okay. It doesn't mean that you need to necessarily respond in a overt manner, but take note of that and now start to implement some sort of plan to make sure that you're removing yourself from that situation, or you have an ability to remove yourself from that situation before you have a confrontation with that individual. Thank you for your time.